Myanmar operates the JUA as a unitary assembly independent republic under its 2008 constitution. On February 1, 2021, Myanmar's military took over the government in a coup. Anti-coup protests are ongoing as of February 24, 2021. The history of Myanmar, formerly called Burma, began with the pagan kingdom in 849. Although each kingdom has constantly been at war with their neighbors, it was the largest Southeast Asian empire during the 16th century under the Taungoo dynasty. The thousand-year line of Burmese monarchy concluded with the Third Anglo-Burmese War in 1885. It was administered as a province that was part of the British India until 1937. The British Burma began with its official recognition on the colonial map that marks its new borders containing over 100 ethnicities. It was named Burma, after the dominant ethnic group Bamar, who makes up 68% of the population. During World War II, a coalition that mostly consisted the Bamar ethnic group volunteered themselves to fight alongside the Japanese in hopes of overthrowing the occupying British forces. Meanwhile, many other ethnic groups supported the Allied forces against the Bamar-backed Japanese forces. This conflict would come to be very significant in the aftermath of World War II when Burma was granted its independence from Great Britain in 1948. Prior to the end of their colonization, the British government had created a novel map of the country with new borders that included some previously sovereign ethnicities. Many groups of racially and culturally diverse people suddenly found themselves as part of a country that was named after the Bamar, a group they did not identify with. The division created within the World War II only exacerbated the growing resentment towards the Bamar. By granting independence to Burma, the British government handed the control of all the containing ethnicities over to the Bamar. Aung San, who led the fight for independence, was able to convince the leaders of the other ethnic groups that fought alongside the Burmese to remain as one country. The formation of the new Burmese constitution in 1948 was cemented by the Pin Loan Agreement, which was signed by every ethnic leader in support of the newfound union. Aung San's unprecedented assassination prior to the absolute fulfillment of the Pin Loan Agreement undid the unification he led. His death marked the short-lived period of peace within the new nation, unleashing a power vacuum that has not been filled properly since. A period of instability with leaders that failed to represent every ethnicity's best interest followed. Democracy was suspended in the country following a coup in 1962. The uncertainty and chaos paved the way for a Burmese nationalist government to take over. From 1962 to 1988, the country was ruled by the Burma Socialist Program Party as a one-party state guided by the Burmese way to socialism. The new Burmese leaders turned Burma into a socialist republic with isolationism and a Burmese superiority. The newfound Burmese nationalism put the Bamar majority at the forefront, undoing the unification initiated through the Pin Loan Agreement. Additionally, the growing disdain was enhanced through the forced coexistence between members of different religions. Bamar kingdoms were almost exclusively Buddhist in the past. Most ethnic groups within the Shan, Kayan, Kaya, and Chin state practiced their own versions of animism, while people of the Islamic faith lived alongside the Buddhists in the Arakan state. The annexation of all the diverse groups into the British India deepened the religious polarization. The movement of people across the border caused by the colonization added a large group of Hindu followers to the mix. The strenuous conversion campaigns by the Catholic Christians and their competition with the Methodist colonialists additionally divided minority groups such as the Karen and Kachin within themselves. The colonial departure unleashed the animosity that has been building towards one another. The death of Aung San and the following leaderships ensured the lasting conflicts between every cultural and religious group. But the 1988 uprising cemented the social, political, and civil unrests that have plagued the country since. The SPDC junta, which took power in 1988, had been responsible for the displacement of several 100,000 citizens, both inside and outside of Burma. The Karen, Karenni, and Mon ethnic groups have been forced to seek asylum in neighboring Thailand, where they are also abused by an unfriendly and unsympathetic government. These groups are perhaps more fortunate than the Wa and Shan ethnic groups, who have become internally displaced peoples in their own state since being removed from lands by the military junta in 2000. There are reportedly 600,000 of these internally displaced peoples living in Burma today. Many are trying to escape forced labor in the military or for one of the many state-sponsored drug